Hello, Echo Units. My name is Rox Titan, and today I'm going to be going over a VRML game from Season 1, Week 1, between Team Nfinite and Team Jokr. I took a couple of clips here, and I'm just going to kind of go through some of the important points of the match that I found, and kind of talk about them all. I'm going to go through each clip probably once, just straight through. Let's get started. And then I'm going to go through again a couple times, or as many times as it takes, kind of pausing and rewinding and talking about more important parts that happened. So you can see right off the joust, Team Jokr gets the win. The disc kind of goes all over the place, though, and it gets picked up by Team Nfinite, who gets control of it on their side. Nothing particularly wrong with this play. We see Zach makes the clear, and that's pretty much where the clip ends. So with Jokr picking it back up on their side. Now if we go back through here, you can see at this point, we have 3 Nfinite players who are all completely uncovered. Zach's got the disc on his side of the field, and all 4 of Jokr's players are right here bunched up. Now, this is kind of a mistake from Jokr on the first part, because when the disc is on the other team's side of the field, you can put a lot of pressure on them because there's no chance that any of them are going to be scoring, or the chance is ridiculously low that Nfinite's going to be scoring the points from here. So Jokr could play a lot more aggressively than this. They could spread out and cover everybody. It looks like they were getting ready for a boost, for a clear, which is what Zach actually ends up doing. But then if we look at the clear, Zach is still not actually getting any pressure on him here. He has Jokr coming up, but he still has 3 open teammates, none of whom are even close to each other. And yet he still goes for the clear. Instead, he could pass it back to any 3 of these teammates and try and control the disc on their side. You can see nobody on Jokr is actually boosting up. Jokr's alone. These 2 are kind of alone. It looks like Kung missed out on Ryan. And he's going to clear it, even though Jokr... Because Ryan can turn around here and grab Kung, and they can get a boost going really quick. And Nfinite is nowhere near getting a boost together. You can still see here. None of these players are getting even close to getting a boost together. You can see on the minimap, there's nobody nearby. And so clear is kind of a mistake here because there's no real reason to clear it because he wasn't really getting pressured here. And so it's better if he can either just grab this block, back up and wait, or pass back and try and get a chain together. So if you're going to clear it, you're clearing it to someone. You want to have a chain going, and then once you know there's a chain going because you're communicating with your team, that's when you can move forward. And that's pretty much it for this clip. Just kind of a weird play because Jokr played a little bit too defensively for the disc being on their opponent's side. They could defend that a lot more aggressively. And then, again, Nfinite not really taking advantage of the space they've been given and just kind of clearing it down. And it gets picked up by Jokr with no problems at all. So go to the next clip. So this one we see kind of a clear down, picked up by Nfinite. They're moving it down the opponent's field. Gets passed over to Zach, who passes it forward. And then he gets punched out here. So there's nothing super wrong with it. They do end up getting the goal afterwards, which is nice. But you can see here, this player here, I think that's Zach, gets the pass. And you can see right here, the stack gets together. We can see Zach look here immediately. The pass is still yet to be thrown to this player over on the shield. And so Zach should have enough time to make the call that, yo, there's a stack coming, or something, like, something, he needs to make some type of call to whatever the comms they use, whether they use the stoplight calls or anything else, to know that this stack is coming. Because you can see this player gets caught completely off guard. He's kind of like going for a wind-up. He's not really urgent. And again, they do end up getting the goal, but this could have been a lot cleaner of a play. Because either the comms didn't happen, even though we can see that he saw the stack coming, or the comms weren't urgent enough. He didn't alert this player, like, with enough urgency that there was a stack coming right now. You need to do something with it. So that pass back would have been better. A lot of things would be better. But, again, like, I'm assuming, and this is making me under the assumption that the comms weren't there and this player didn't just, like, ignore his teammate for some reason. But, especially since we can see that he sees a stack here, there's definitely something went wrong with the comms here. Either they weren't urgent or they weren't there at all. That this player was not ready for the stack to be on him so fast. So go to the next clip. This is still game 1. So you can see Jokr has control of the disc in their opponent's side. And they're doing a pretty good job controlling the disc, but they start doing something right here. Is Nfinite isn't really pressuring them. And so they're just putting the disc back. And this is kind of a callback to Season 1. Or not Season 1, but earlier seasons in ESL, where stalling was a really rampant part of the meta. And you can see kind of Jokr's taking a little bit advantage of here. And Nfinite's not doing a great job of breaking it up. And you can see Jokr's ahead by like 5 points with 4 minutes left, which isn't a great time to be stalling. But they're definitely able to burn, I think, about 45 seconds over the course of this clip, just passing the disc around. And one of the things that once I replay the clip, you'll see that Nfinite could have done here. And I don't think most of these players played earlier in the season, in earlier ESL seasons when stalling was such a big problem. But you can see right here, at this point. So Dash has the disc here. He's far back. Dash is not, like, probably 8 times out of 10, he's not making the shot. It's almost from midfield, and he's got the black in the way. He's going to have to either go for the right side, the right corner of the goal, or he's going to have to go for a mail slot. So he's not threatening a goal right here. So at this point, you can see Nfinite just kind of spread around on the bubble, just kind of playing bubble defense, even though none of the Jokr players are near the bubble. So how to break up a stall is once the team that's stalling passes the disc back, once they get to a player that's not really threatening a goal, you want to spread out. You want to drop the goalie. So you want to send one of these 3 players that's already out, probably the one on bow tie, towards the disc, and you want to spread everybody out to cover the 3 other players, because there's not really any threat of a goal here. And so you want to try to cover all 4. Instead, you can see that Nfinite just kind of like waits up, pressures, and they pressure, but they're not covering everybody. So there's still players open. You can see players are just like, they don't really know what to do. They're not covering people. So especially like now is when you still need a goalie, because this is a shot that most players could make, especially at this high level. So this is a time where you do want to have a goalie, but once again, he passes it back to Dash, I think, again right here. And once the disc goes back, yeah, this is when you want to pressure. When it goes back to Dash, Dash is not, again, you're not going to be scoring very many shots from here. More often than not, you're not taking the shot, or you're just going to take it and miss. So this is like when the disc is back here, you already have, the Palace actually got stunned here, but if he had won this brawl, he could pressure Dash, and then the rest of his team, you can see on the minimap, needs to spread out and move and cover the rest of the players. Because it takes them, this play started at like 4 minutes and 30, and they're able to take it to about 3:45 before they make a mistake with this pass here and get the disc cleared. And so again, this wasn't an optimal time for stalling to take place, but nonetheless, Jokr was able to burn like about 45 seconds off the clock here. It starts at 4:30 and ends at about, it clears down at 3:40. It's about 45 seconds, which is a lot of time. That's easily enough time for 1 or 2 points to get scored. And so being able to like notice that the opponent's stalling and then being able to deal with it are pretty important parts, especially if a team starts to use it at a difficult time like this. Let's go next up. This is the last one of game 1. So you can see a good juke by Ryan, I think that is, and Jokr's moving it down the field. You see kind of a little bit of a mess going on the shield there, but then we can see not even the casters ready for that one because they didn't have him on camera, but came from above. So you have these players here, Jokr and Zach just kind of like trying to punch each other out, playing defense. But you can see nobody is ready or even notices that Kung was there. And so usually when you're a goalie, when you're YouTube in the situation, you want to be calling out all of the offensive players' positions so that Zach, instead of sitting here and hanging on to Jokr, because Zach is assuming here that Jokr is pretty much the only threat in the bubble because he sees these 2 players here and he sees that he has teammates here covering them. So he thinks that Jokr is the only threat here because if Jokr were left open and he gets a pass, he's in a pretty much prime opportunity to score the goal. But you can see Kung is also above here. And so if YouTube had called it out, instead of hanging on to Jokr, Zach could be holding on to just the shield or even the nest. And so he's still covering the lane to Jokr, but he's also kind of covering the lane to Kung. So as the goalie, you want to be calling out where all the offensive players are so you don't get snuck up on like this. You see, like, nobody looked like they were ready for Kung to be here. Zach's kind of just floats around. Nobody really knew he was there except for his own team. So as a goalie, it's really important to be calling out attackers' positions. See, this is second game. Jokr took game 1. And you can see Ryan here just kind of flubs a pass, and it ends up getting retrieved by Nfinite, who sinks the 3. So this is a pretty obvious mistake by Jokr, but I still wanted to point it out because it's a problem that I've seen a lot of games, just pretty much across the board, even at high level, low level, everywhere. Players are making mistakes like these, where Ryan has the disc here. He picks up the disc, and has basically nobody on him. You can see Palace is coming down on him, but he's still got the disc, and he's got a few seconds here. He's got a teammate here. He's got a teammate up on Bowtie. He's got a teammate behind him. These two can get together for a boost if he were to clear it. But instead of that, he just kind of tries to float up, and he goes for a clear tunnel. He ends up getting grabbed by Palace here. And instead of, again, he's got a teammate here open, a teammate down in trench open. He's got one teammate going towards the tunnel, one teammate going towards the middle. And again, he just gets punched and ends up throwing it down. So instead of, it's always good to know that, you want to know that you're in trouble, and you want to be able to get rid of the disc. So you can see, like, he had a couple teammates open. He had options, but instead he just kind of held on to it and just juked around and did whatever. Not really juked around, but he tried to shake the goalie off. You can see here, he, like, jumps away. He's jumping instead of throwing the disc. And it ends up just, like, panicking because he gets punched out and throwing it straight down and into the hands of Palace, who scores the goal. It was a good play, a lot of pressure put on by Nfinite, but ultimately, Jokr could have salvaged this because, again, this player's wide open. You need to not panic when you're under pressure, and you also need to be able to you have to realize when you're under pressure. Like, at this point, he had a player here you could throw to. You want to get rid of the disc when you're under pressure, basically, is the idea. See the next clip coming up? This is, if you watch this series, this is definitely something you'll remember. This is probably the highlight of the series. It was a lot of back-to-back saves and really good defense by Team Nfinite. But you can see they were never actually able to get it out, and Jokr does end up scoring off of the back of this. And a lot of people watching in Twitch chat and even like on the replays and stuff, they were all calling out how good the defense was for Synapse, but I want to draw attention to how well Jokr actually played this, even though they weren't able to get the goal for a while. And once I replay the clip, you'll see. Starting here, you watch where Jokr positions themselves. They've got 2 people inside the bubble. They've got 1 player back, and they've got 3 people inside the bubble. But you can see, especially starting now, Jokr never has 2, sometimes 3 people inside the bubble, because they're always ready for these clears. Because Synapse actually did this pretty well. Or not Synapse, I'm sorry. Team Nfinite does this pretty well, because usually when you make these saves, you don't want to clear forward, because there's usually either a player on double diamonds, on bow tie, or on the shield. So clearing it straight down the middle is generally a bad idea. Clearing it top and bottom are also not as bad, but generally not good ideas either, because the floors, while they are slanted away from the goal, the floor and the ceiling are both not very slanted. So the disc, even if you throw it down here, will only end up bouncing back into the middle area. So generally, especially if you're in a high pressure situation and you only have time to like get rid of it really quickly, you generally want to slap it to the sides, because the left and right walls are slanted a lot more drastically away from the goal. So if you throw it against this plane here, for example, it'll bounce against this wall and move out, and you have a better chance of getting it out of pressure. But again, Jokr positions really well for this. They have like only a few people inside the bubble, and they're keeping their 2 other players. You can see Dash and whoever this is, Jokr. No, Jokr right here. Whoever that is, are positioned right outside the bubble, and they're able to repeatedly recover these discs even after they get saves. Like, again, another save happens, Dash is ready, and you can see now they have 3 people inside the bubble right here. So whoever this is, I can't see because of the resolution. Ryan moves in, and then now they have 3 people in the bubble, so Jokr immediately gets out and moves to the shield, and it pays off because then he gets the pass from Dash and he's able to take it in 1v1, and they finally end up scoring the goal. So even though Nfinite did play very well here and getting a lot of saves and being able to get a lot of defense and clearing it properly, they cleared it to the sides a lot. Like, they were clearing it in generally good positions. Like, off the floor is generally a good idea. Unfortunately, Jokr were ready for it. But Jokr played really well in not overcommitting to the bubble and keeping players outside. They always had like 2, sometimes 3 people inside the bubble, and they were able to really capitalize off of that and get a lot of chances in the goal, and eventually they were able to find the goal. Now I want to go to the last clip here, which is Jokr basically doing the opposite of that clip and playing the bubble positioning pretty badly. You can see here they have a pretty good position. They're moving up. They're passing. They're keeping control of the disc. But then they move into the bubble, and all 3 of the Jokr players decide that they're going to go inside the bubble. And or not even inside the bubble, but inside the goal. And eventually, and then the player with the disc gets punched and the disc gets cleared. So this is basically a what not to do, as plain and simple, because you've got 3 people in this bubble right inside the goal. None of them are doing anything to help their teammate who's got 2 people on him, other than basically giving him a lower chance to score because he's got more heads in the goal that he could hit. So if somebody were, especially right here, if there was somebody like any one of these 3 players were either on Nest, on Shield, down here, or anywhere not here, even at the top of the backboard would have been a good idea. This was such an easy point to have it pass right here. Palace is not in a position where he can get to a player if he gets a pass here. And then if a player's here and he's walking in, that is pretty much the worst place for the attacker to be with the disc if you're the defense. That is by far and away the best spot to be scoring the disc from. And so if you can get a player here uncovered and get a pass to them, like probably 8, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be a goal. And you can see Jokr just kind of clogs in the bubble and doesn't do that. But again, like back and forth. That's all I've got for this game. Jokr did end up taking this one in the last like 15 seconds or so. But thank you for watching and have a nice day.